Well, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Well, for today, I'm actually on a well and at the house. And what we're doing today is we're going to go ahead and replace our filtration system. Now, we're getting well water and in from the outside, comes in from the outside, much like, you know, even city water would come in through a pipe. This is the 220 line feeding my well pump. The water comes in this way, goes into this pressure tank, which basically accumulates pressure so that we have water pressure on demand where we're calling for water in house. And this system, it's pretty old. It's been here for about 30 years. We've not had any trouble with it, but one of the things I like to do when I go along is to avoid a problem. And saying that, what we're going to do is replace this tank today and also replace this old filter system that I have today. All right. All right. So the first thing we got to do with this pressure tank, he's actually pressurized right now, and he's got probably 50 gallons or so of water in him. So the first thing you need to do is drain that water out. So what the tech is doing here, he's hooking up onto the drain spout. He's got his hose, and he's going to run it over to our sump pump over here on the other side of the house.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
You got outside wires and inside wires.
Okay. Which are both what, hot legs?
No, these aren't hot until you turn the power on.
Right. Yeah. I mean, but in operation they'd be hot, right?
I just always do it where I know my outside wires are my outside.
So it doesn't really matter left and right.
No, as long as you have one on each side, or two on each side, I'll show you.
Yeah, because they're hot, right?
Yes. This is your wire going out to the well pump.
Okay.
So that's why I always say, whenever I do them, I always just think of my outside wires, outside, and then my house wires I do inside. Okay. And I just do the same colors.
And the order doesn't matter on
Doesn't matter, I just do it the same colors just to be universal. Somebody taped these already just to tell you that they're both hot. So this is your white and your black. So then when I hook these up, I'm just going to do my white and my black on the inside.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, I know myself.
But yeah, even if you switched them, it would still run the pump.
Right.
I just do it just because I don't know. I like to be universal, you know.
Yeah.
Uniform.
Myself, you know, I really don't understand how the pressure tank works. I mean, I kind of do now, you know, it pumps and builds up pressure.
All this is doing is disconnecting the power at a certain pressure.
Cycling
kicks it off at 60, kicks it on at 40.
Right, cycling it off and on, so you're just breaking a circuit.
Yep, that's all it's doing.
And that's
just a spring.
And that's driven by that spring on the back. And is that an adjustment on the back there?
You can adjust your cut on and cut off pressures, but it's not really recommended.
Right.
They're meant to run pretty much 40-60.
Yeah, they're preset.
I've had homeowners do that. Come in here and they got it jacked up in like 70-90. I'm like, you can't do that.
No.
It's not a good idea.
No. So I've seen pictures where somebody had like 4 of these side by side. I guess that's for more
probably
volume.
Capacity. Yeah, they're probably trying to get capacity.
Yeah, but in residential, you'd never.
Not generally, no. Something maybe on like a farm or something.
Yeah. A hotel maybe or something if you're on a well. I don't know. Guess that wouldn't be too often,
we do a few schools that are like that. They'll have multiple of these.
Okay. All right.
White on the inside, black on the inside. They said it would still work. I'm picky.
Yeah, like your analogy about the outsides versus the insides.
It's just then you can't really screw it up.
Yeah. Yep. All right. right, well, that makes sense.
Yeah, you should always be able to tell. You know what I mean? Your wire going out and then your wire coming in. That's always there.
Well side, house side.
You always have your, like inside, it'll have your cut on, cut off, other side. See, here's your cut on, cut off. Right there.
Okay, yep.
40, 60. That's what they usually come from the factory. Usually that or 30, 50s you'll see, but 40, 60 is pretty standard.
So, okay, got that side, but now on the tank itself, it's got air pressure up there, and I think you told me earlier.
It's 38 pounds from the factory. All it's got to be is 2 psi less than what your cut-on pressure is.
Okay.
So if they're running a 40-60 switch, you want 38 psi in there. If they were running a 30-50 switch, you'd want 28 in here.
Okay.
You'd want 2 psi lower than that 30 for the cut-on.
Right. So I know myself, I have that off-grid system there, which I run power out to it hot on a timer. You know, like, hey, if I know I'm going to be outside for 20 minutes, I'll turn my timer on.
Right.
So the pressure switch wouldn't really ever matter then, right? Because I'm just running it up and up and up and up.
How are you doing it again?
It's a 12-volt DC a water pump out there that I have.
Okay.
So it just runs up and up and up. So in that case, would it give me any benefit or detriment changing the pressure on the bladder?
I don't think so. I mean, I've never. How do you run? I don't understand what you're doing with that pump, honestly. So when the power goes out?
Well, no, that's completely off the grid. I have a little solar panel up there. He collects a 12-volt battery, and then I have a timer switch. You know, you turn the timer on, and it runs for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever you set it for.
Where are you getting the water from, though? Groundwater?
Collecting rainwater.
Okay, so you're collecting. That's when I was confused. I'm like, what are you trying? I didn't understand what you were running with it.
Yeah, and I'm just using like the outside garden stuff, you know, washing the cars and stuff.
I don't think so. I mean, this is probably a little overkill for here, but
it is. But I don't know. Again, it makes me feel good using rainwater outside, not having to use this system, and more so now because I won't have to run the volume through here, right, with the chemical stuff. You know, I mean, salt's cheap.
Yeah.
Whatever this chemical is, it's cheap enough. So.
Sodium hydroxide. So have you never had a system where you used the caustic before at all?
No.
Okay. It's not too bad. It's not too hard. It's hard to get to sit on that screw sometimes. That's what that grabs, is that little screw on top of that spring to hold the housing, the cover.
Like a female nut in there,
Okay.
Yeah, I'll edit different parts of this out. So.
A little later.
All right, so I imagine something's going to tell me that that material is low, right?
No. you'll see this tank go down, the level.
Oh, the tank will go down.
Yeah, I'm going to fill this tank. It's going to be 35 gallons of solution in here.
I got you.
It's going to take you months before you'll see like a chunk missing. You'll see the shadow go down as you're using it.
Then once it goes down, I just repeat what you're doing.
Pretty much.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah, once I get the mix, I'm hoping it's going to be 2 gallons, and then it'll be easy mix for you. It all depends on where I can get the pH up to and where my setting on my pump is. You don't want the pump to be like one extreme or the other. You don't want it to be on like 10%, but you don't want it to be on 100 either.
Makes sense.
So then you got room to adjust either way if you need to.
Okay. And the pump itself is not telling me anything about the solution. It's just
no,
the pump.
It's just showing you your pump stroke.
Yeah.
So I put it on 50. That's just to start testing water. It may not be what it's at.
All right, you're on.
It's 2 gallons of the sodium hydroxide if the tank were empty, and then fill the rest with water.
Right. So
if it's at half, you're only going to put 1 of these in.
Right, and then top it off with water from here, like you said.
It's always going to. The tank's 33 gallons of water and 2 gallons of chemical. That's all it is.
All right.
All you're doing is diluting this stuff down to a mix, and then you're dosing it very small amounts.
Right. Gotcha. I understand that. All right. Super.
Yeah. So that's just all you're telling it is your hardness setting. So now the board's programmed.
Okay.
That's how much water you can run through that softener until it needs to clean. You can run 7,084 gallons through it until it needs to regenerate and use salt.
Which he'll do automatically.
Yes. Yeah. You don't have to do none of that. Okay. Now, I don't foresee you using that much water in 2 weeks.
Right.
The valve has a 14-day override. Meaning, if you don't use the 7,000 gallons in the next 2 weeks, it's going to clean anyway.
Right.
Which is fine. If you're only going off twice a month, which you're going to be, because there's no way you're using 7,000 gallons in 2 weeks unless you leave a hose wide open around the clock.
No, you're right on that.
So if you go off every two weeks, it's only 2 regens a month. It's 30 pounds of salt, so you're using 60 pounds a month. About a bag and a half a month. That's about probably $12 a month of salt.
Is there a way to change it? Because right now we're down, less people in the house. And as we get more, I would want.
Well, it's not about, all you're telling the valve is your raw water. Okay. That's your water hardness. All you do to program is you take whatever your iron is, you multiply by 3. You only had a half part, so I always round up. So I'll do 1 times 3 is 3. You add your hardness to that.
Okay.
So 3 and 6 is 9. That's your calculated hardness.
Okay.
The valve comes up with its own capacity.
Okay,
I don't come up with that number based on the water. Right. The higher the hardness,
the more it's going, or the lower that number will be, right?
We'll say you're down in Annapolis where we are, where you got big iron, okay? Which is, it's everybody around our area's got it. You'll have valves programmed to say 85, okay? Now how much water are you getting?
Yeah.
So it all depends on what you're starting with. Right. Your water here is like pretty yes. You're already starting way ahead of the curve. That's why you're getting so many gallons.
Compared to Annapolis. Yeah.
You got it. The more iron you got is what knocks that number up.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But if you're all the way down at half part and 6 grains of hard, there's like nothing in the water.
So what I was getting to, with more or less people in the house, I don't need to really change anything.
No, and like I said, even if you don't use the water in 2 weeks, it'll go off anyway. Because like I said, you're not going to use 7,000 gallons in 2 weeks.
Right.
All right, let's get the chemical pump rolling. And then the other things you'll see on the screen is our name and number, which you saw.
Right.
Capacity remaining, that's what we just talked about. If you ever see GPM flashing, that stands for gallons per minute.
Right.
That's just letting you know that the meter's detecting water is going somewhere right now because we're running the hose. It's not going to tell you where.
Yeah.
We're running out here.
Flip up.
Or you can see the meter running.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Days to regen, we're on the 14 because we just started the valve.
And there's no way to change that.
You can put this from the most you can.
Oh, but you have to do it through the settings. So
you can either turn it off.
Yeah,
most people only go off the gallons, or the max you can do is 28 days. Yeah. So basically once a month it would go off.
Yeah, let's do, instead of 14 days, let's do something else. Like
21?
21, yeah.
So 3 weeks.
Yeah, right.
Which is fine. I mean, some guys would max that at 28. It's wherever you want to do.
Let's go somewhere in between and do that.
21 days or the 7,000 some odd gallons.
Okay, yeah, and he'll figure that out.
And here's your flow rate screen too. So this will show how much water you're actually running. So we should have 2.4 gallons a minute or so going out that hose over to the pit right now.
Okay.
That's how much water you're running. You can check this valve if you think you got a toilet leaking, because it'll show down to like 0.1, 0.2.
Okay.
Then you know you got probably a toilet.
And the way you got to that was through
This will
menu.
flip screen to screen on its own, but if you want to just advance them, you can hit next all day long. It's just going to take you through those 4 screens.
Okay, gotcha.
That's all. That's the only thing you'll be able to really see on there until you get into the programming.
Okay.
All right, let's get some chemical rolling.
And this here is.
I just gotta get
you're gonna
this.
set it, and then I'm gonna forget it, right?
No. I'm gonna get the chemical going first, prime it. You don't have to do this again either. It's just never been started up before.
All right.
Actually, you'll see the chemical in a second. It'll start coming up with you.
All right.
See it start coming out.
Oh yeah, I see the bubbles coming out.
That's just, we fill them halfway up from the start, because then I can, like, say you estimated wrong from the start and filled it all the way up, you got too much in there, now what? Now you gotta pump the tank out.
Now you're gonna leave me some other solution to it.
Oh, you can have whatever I got left here.
Okay. And then you're gonna show me how to get to the pump in there, right? And how to swap that hose. You can show me that one
Take this off right here,
time. Okay.
little lock,
Roll him up.
pull this back,
Okay.
cover comes off, disconnect these nuts,
Okay.
tube right there,
Yeah, and then just swap them out.
swap
okay.
the new one out. You put
Yeah,
your new one in there,
So to do that swap out,
put your cover over it. You got a
So-
book that tells you how to do it too.
yeah, but it's better for me to show and tell, right? So to shut the pump off, I know it doesn't
You don't have
matter.
to shut anything off.
Yeah, you don't have to.
No, you don't have to do
Okay.
nothing. You can take any of that apart anytime. You're not going to mess nothing up. Alright, get that settled for a second. So,
All right.
Water comes in over here.
Right,
the
just
well line.
from a well line, okay, comes in.
Comes into your pressure tank,
Right.
or your bladder tank, whatever people call it.
And you guys just replaced our bladder tank today, so we got all new fittings down here and everything, real nice. Are you done?
I replaced the, put a new 3-valve back here for you for the bypass, so you can still turn the system off if you need to.
Okay, meaning that we can run either
You can run raw water
with-
or
or
treated.
without. Yeah, like if we had a swimming pool or something, we could
Yeah.
fill it up without going through all this.
Yep.
Alright, so-
Goes into your sediment filter first.
Right.
So we moved that over, remounted it for you. Goes from there up into your water softener. It's your new softener. There's your valves, your bypass.
Right.
You can see your water comes in, goes out. It's arrows for the bypass.
And the water softener programming is all through here, which you already have set for us, and it's going to automatically regen every 21 days or based on the
Or,
gallon.
yeah, it was a little over
Yeah.
7,000 gallons you
Right.
can get, or 21 days.
Right.
Which, like I said, you'll still probably be going off on the 21.
Yeah, that's a nice feature. And then basically this tank here is fed by the salt tank, is that right?
Yes and no. So
How
the
does that
softener,
work?
when it goes through a cycle, the first cycle it's going to do, it goes off at night. So it goes off at 2 in the morning when this does its clean. Not every day. You're either
Okay.
going on the
Yeah.
gallons
Right.
or the 21
time.
days.
Yeah.
But it's only going to go off at 2 in the morning.
Okay, gotcha.
So from 2 to 4 is going to be like your kind of like your downtime window.
Right, okay. And
But you won't really know if it's going off that night unless you come down here and look at it that
right,
day.
got it.
Or you come down here at 2 in the morning and see if this thing's going off.
Okay.
But you just want to get into a routine and not using the water between 2 and 4. Anything extended. Laundry, showers, tubs, things like that.
And
Flushing a
stuff.
toilet's not a big deal.
Yeah, so...
But as far as how the salt works, the water softener does an ion exchange. So basically, just to keep it simple, the resin's attracted to the iron and the hardness that's in the raw water. So it's like a magnet to it.
Okay, makes sense.
Catches all the bad stuff. Once it comes time to clean, this will be turned into brine, salt water.
Okay.
Because it puts water to the bottom of the brine well.
Okay. It
So
goes all the way
not
down.
down there. It only puts it down there 2 hours prior to
Oh,
cleaning.
okay, to cleaning. Okay.
Yeah, so
at
it takes 2 hours to technically dissolve the salt into the brine.
Okay.
2 hours minimum.
Why am I not seeing water in here right now then?
This is
a
not
late-
in a regen. It's only going to do it at night.
At nighttime when it regens. So when it's done its regen cycle, does the water go down in here?
There's no water in here unless you
No.
come down here at 2 in the morning to actually see the water in here.
Okay.
It's called dry storage. There's no water in here until 2 hours prior.
Okay, and then it puts the water in, gets the brine, pumps
Gets
it in
the
the
salt
resin tank.
dissolve. So in that 2 hours, that's what happens. The salt dissolves into salt water. Now it's salt water for the softener to suck back in to clean the resin.
Back in, and then it won't top off any more water in here until the next cycle.
The next cycle.
I gotcha. Okay.
The salt water essentially is what's cleaning the resin. That's just to keep it simple.
Okay, well that's nice.
That cleans the resin, then once it's all said and done,
I did not realize that.
the resin is what they call recharged, so now it's able to start pulling more calcium and hardness out of the water.
Okay.
But that's basically how the softener works. They always work together.
Yeah,
and the softener always has a salt tank.
So once that calcium and iron and lime and whatever gets built up on here, the regen cycle.
Yeah, it backwashes, goes through 4 cycles.
It backwashes and
all your
kicks it out.
wastewater goes out to the drain.
Right. Okay. And that's all automatic, so
Yes,
great
sir.
for a homeowner.
Yep.
And then
from the softener comes out chemical feed. So you got a mixing chamber.
and
So
this
your
chemical feed is for our pH.
for your
level.
pH issue. Yep.
Right.
So chemical feed's kind of like a couple pieces make one piece of equipment. So you got your mixing chamber where the chemical's actually being introduced. This does not spin. It's just a baffle. It doesn't move. I get so many guys ask me, "That's not spinning." I said, "It's never spins."
Right.
You show me one of them spinning, I'll.
Yeah, we time to replace it. And
This is supposed to spin.
Yeah, and that's
So
your
this is the
water
other
meter.
part. That's your flow meter. So this is what's actually reading how much water you're using, so that the pump can dose the water accordingly. It's a 1/10 of a gallon meter. So basically, 1/10 of a gallon makes that meter spin and send a signal. 1/10.
So that water meter is feeding your pH.
It's sending my signal to my pump.
To your
letting
pump
the pump know if we're running a gallon a minute or 10 gallons a minute.
which it sends that meter to mount to here.
Yep.
Okay.
The more water you turn on, you'll hear the pump sending more because it knows you're running more water. You got to ramp up.
Makes sense.
So after the meter, I put your carbon filter back in line last, just as a polishing filter. And it'll probably take care of any smell issues you have. Like I say, you're not using chlorine in the tank, just the sodium hydroxide.
And I noticed the other thing today too, Chris, that when you were testing, you got the system set up, you had to test what your pH was and your water hardness and all that. So you put this boiler drain here so that you can run water down here without feeding it into the house, and then do your water tests.
And you can also use this when you want to change your carbon, because if you turn this off and that off, before you didn't have a relief button, so I don't know how you get the pressure off. Now you can just open that up and get it off a lot easier, and you're going to use that to fill your tank.
Yeah, which is
so serves 2 purposes.
Yeah, that's something I didn't ask for, but I'm so
And then
very
if we
glad
ever come here and fill chemicals, I don't even need the house. I can just run it to the pit and test water.
Right.
Well, you got a bathroom in there too we can use, so your house is easy. But
okay.
You get some people's house, we do deliveries, and we can't get to a sink to test or something, and we got to have water.
Yeah, and the way you have this plumbed in, I really like it. So we have a whole house shut off here, which actually works as a diverter to divert into the water treatment system and then back out to the house. At the moment, we have it turned off.
Yeah, I don't have the house on yet, just yet.
Because we're still testing.
Yeah, once I get the pH right, we're going to send it.
And also, once you get the pH right, you've got all the settings set up in here.
Everything's programmed.
And the ratio of the concentrate in the water here is already set. We've set that to 2 gallons of concentrate to the 35 gallons in a full tank, or 1 gallon to half a tank.
Yes, sir.
Which is makes it simple. So wow.
We try to keep it simple.
Well, thank you so much. As a customer of Mid-Atlantic, I'm telling you, I'm so happy with what you guys have done for us.
We try.
So it's a beautiful system, and I've even asked, I've bothered and pestered these guys so much. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? And both of them were so obliging to me, and I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
No problem.
All right.
Anytime.